And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk here at the Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. Starting off the program with head coach Ryan Ritter of the UT Martin men's basketball team. The Skyhawks 3-1 on the road trip, split last week against Little Rock and Western Illinois, but got the big win on national TV against second place Western Illinois. Now in the OVC, a four-way tie for second place. But coach, heck of a win on Saturday, a great bounce back game.
Yeah, it was great. Obviously a good ending to a really long 10-day, 4-game road trip, but find a way to go 3-1 and then capping it off with a win on national TV against a really good team. There's still a lot of basketball to be played, but to kind of put us in a position to be in second place and feel like we're playing our best basketball right now.
I thought the game against Western Illinois was tournament atmosphere. Because they had a lot of hyped up because of the national televised game, but also the toughness of that game.
Yeah, we were talking about the atmosphere in there was awesome. The broadcast was great. It definitely felt like it was more than just a Saturday afternoon, February 10th game. But that's a team that's going to be a hard out. They're very physical. They're tough. Obviously, coming down from the Summit League, they've had some success early on, and for us to kind of finish that thing on a 10-3 run and win it with our defense was very reminiscent of a tournament game.
Yeah.
And this game felt like a bare-knuckle brawl. It really did. I mean, both teams just barely shooting above 40% from the field, but talking with a few people, it was a good basketball game. It was just a nitty-gritty game. Talking about the front court, though, Issa Muhammad, another double-double, 12 points, 12 rebounds. He had to take on Drew Cisse, and he did a heck of a job on one of the best rebounders in the country.
Yeah, really, it was, two of the better forwards in our league with Cisse and Issa. And, Issa came ready to go and obviously had a heck of a game. And I thought he, honestly just missed a couple easy bunnies in there, or else he maybe has 18 or 20 along with those, 12-plus rebounds. But he was tremendous, but I thought also it was the collective effort of our guards getting in the mix to rebound the ball. I mean, everyone that checked on the floor, from Kobe Jeffries to Sebastian Mendoza to the guys that started, David Kamwanga, were physical and had a presence on the defensive glass for us.
Yeah, I thought that too, and that's a toughness game because they're a tough team. They play bully ball to a certain extent, and I felt in the last 10 minutes you were tougher.
Yeah, well, you said they play bully ball. Not to a certain extent. That's what they do.
Okay.
They back you down. They back you down in the basket.
It was 40 minutes of them, trying to impose their physicality. But yeah, it was definitely toughness down the last 10 minutes, and like you said, Sebastian Mendoza, Kobe Jeffries, everyone that checked in, they understood that this thing's going to be physical. It's going to be tough to score all night, and holding an opponent to 59 points on the road, usually gives you a chance to be successful.
And just this road trip as a whole thing all together, you go to Eastern Illinois, SIUE, then Little Rock, and then again Western Illinois. For you all, did you just look at this as, okay, we're handling this one game at a time, or really just that four-game group together and create your own four-game season, really?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it one game at a time because, for us, it's like you start looking ahead and it's just tough to win on the road. So you start, you win one, you lose one, you start thinking about the what ifs. You get yourself in a bad spot mentally. So for us, it was going out one game at a time, trying to play our best basketball, and I thought we did that 3 out of the 4 nights. And obviously, Little Rock was a tough night, but 3 games in 6 days and traveling, 15 plus hours on a bus in the span of 48 hours, that's pretty tough. So, happy with where our guys ended up, Saturday night at 10 o'clock we finally got home.
Well, I can, as a broadcaster, say that when the schedule was first released, I looked at those first games and went, we're going to see what we're made of then, particularly with the Little Rock to Macomb. I mean, it's almost like an NBA team in the East going to the West or vice versa. And you come out of it 3-1. So you look back on it, and that just tells you where your basketball team is, how tough you are, and how you can win on the road.
No doubt. We've won 5 out of 6 right now. We're playing well. I think, what are we, 4-2 on the road or 5-2 on the road right now? Something along those aspects. Much better than we were last year. But it's funny. I was listening to Doc Rivers the other night after he came back from a road trip, and he said, I'm disappointed we didn't play as well, but I'm really disappointed with the commissioner in terms of the scheduling. No one's ever been on these flights, and not to point fingers, but I think the travel schedule for the last 10 days didn't favor us, and our guys didn't complain. They just found a way to get up and find ways to get better.
When things go well, it can actually create this neat bond.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think our guys, we got to probably settle them down a little bit. They're probably a little higher. We always say things aren't as good as they appear, and they're not as bad as they appear. Mm-hmm. And we've got a good basketball team that's playing really well, and we got to focus on Southern Indiana on Thursday, who's playing really good basketball, just beat SIUE by double digits.
And focusing in on this next week, this is a big start to be the end of the season. 4 of your next 6 going to be at home. But this next week, you just mentioned it, Southern Indiana coming in, I think right now in 8th place in the OVC. And then also Moorhead on Saturday, the best team right now in the league in terms of standings. How do you keep the guys just focused in, though, on Thursday? Because I know that they're going to be really excited with Moorhead coming to town, and that's going to be a huge game for you all. But Southern Indiana is still a really quality basketball team.
Yeah, I think anybody that's looking at Moorhead, they haven't obviously spent any time looking at Southern Indiana. They're a really good basketball team. Stan's a heck of a coach. They've played everybody in league very, very, very close, and then they've playing better as of late in terms of beating SIUE by double digits. But they're tough. They've got one of the leading scorers in the league on their team, and we've got to find a way to have a good practice today and lock in on what's in front of us in terms of Thursday, not necessarily Saturday.
And getting ready for this final stretch, what are some of your emphasis is going to be as you all get ready for Evansville here in just, I think, 4 weeks?
Yeah, it's really it's really almost even less than that, I guess. But the consistency that we're playing with, how do we keep that continuity? And we've shown flashes of it. And so for us, it's just finding ways to be consistent down the stretch. We're doing it with our defense, and that's a good thing because defense travels. Just, again, not looking ahead, find a way. Today's Monday, February 12th? We got to have a good one today, and that's really got to be our only focus.
I love the toughness. I love the ability to rebound, and I love the defense. Yeah, when you win games defensively, it means you can win a lot of games.
Yeah, well, it just said it. It travels, and so whether we're playing at the Elam Center, we're playing in Little Rock, or we're playing on the moon. Defense and toughness travel, and our groups kind of find a way to put those two together.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here at the Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. Davis Gregory here with me, Chris Brinkley, now joining us for the first time here on the program, head coach Ryan Jenkins.
Can I jump in here? You've gotten the biggest crowd support of any coach we've ever had on the show.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I got a lot of friends.
I'm really impressed.
And now they've disappeared. They've gone back over to the booth over there. The crowd has dissipated now. They got stage fright.
Did they?
From
Is that
being
what
recognized.
happened?
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Well, UT Martin, they're going to have opening day coming up here this weekend against Northern Kentucky. The Skyhawks coming off arguably the best year in Division I program history. Coaches, just looking back at last year, really great season for you and the guys.
Yeah, it was a big season for us. It was very important for us to have that kind of year with the group that we had. And, you look at it and you go, hey, this is a good starting point for us. Guys start to taste a little bit of success and doing things the right way consistently. That's huge for us. That's kind of the first time in my career here that you felt that way. And, it's a good jumping off point, and I think that the guys are ready to go, and, they're excited about the season, and they think that they're a good baseball team, and that's half the battle.
Absolutely. And so you bring back 26 players from last year's team, and you look at the starting lineup from last year. You only lose Caleb Hobson, who goes to the MLB in the draft to the Colorado Rockies, and then Jack Kolmovic as well, a long-tenured player for you and your program. Just talk about, the ability to retain that talent from last year and get them back here for another year.
Yeah, that's become a difficult thing in our profession, is to get good players and hold on to them. I'm glad that we were able to retain the players that we had, and that are back with us, and I hope that that's a testament to the environment that we've created, and those guys coming in and really enjoying their time here in Martin. But it's huge for us to have a veteran team that we kind of know each other. We know how each other work. They know how I work. I know what their abilities are, and that's my job to put them in situations where they're going to succeed. For me, the big thing is making sure that those guys are ready to play, and I'm doing everything on my end because I know they have the ability. With that older group, you got a lot of leadership there. You've got some camaraderie there that has been huge for us. And then, the young guys that you bring in, it's like having an extra coach. So it's huge for us. I'm excited about the group. I'm glad that we were able to get everybody to come back and do what we're doing.
One of the things you're talking about is creating culture.
Yeah.
So what kind of culture do you want to have here? And obviously you've made a big step.
For us, we want to bring in guys that have aspirations of playing beyond UT Martin, and then create an environment where they can get better, and player development and things that we're doing with our field and with the hitting facility are a huge part of that. But we want guys to come in and feel like, that they're going to get better, they're going to get the instruction that they need. And, and on the other side of that, for me, it's bringing guys in and creating relationships with them and getting to know them and, trying to help them, because a lot of the guys are not going to play at the next level, and being able to help them, improve on what they're doing as far as just everyday life and being better men. And I think that we've done a good job with a lot of that stuff.
No doubt. I mean, when you're surrounded by better players, it makes you a better player.
That's right. There ain't no doubt.
And your 4 preseason All-OVC honorees, 3 of them were new last year. You get Mac Danford, Zach Wager, Andrew Fernandez, Blaze Bell, a returner on that list too. What have you seen from those 4 guys here leading up to the start of the season?
I mean, those guys have been solid. They are what they are. They come out, they've got a tool set that's really good, and it's really good for our league. There's pressure on them, which I think is good. I think when people start talking about you this early in the year before we've ever even played a game, it creates pressure, and it creates some anxiety, and there's some things that they're going to have to deal with and being in the spotlight. But I think it's good for them. I think if we're able to deal with this early and those guys are able to sit out in front and do their job, once we get late in the season and there's pressure, which comes with tight baseball games, championship baseball, I think they'll be more prepared. So, from those guys, they've been solid. They've done what they're supposed to do. Mac's been outstanding. Wager, anybody that knows him knows that's a character. And he does a good job. He goes out. He really doesn't care. He's just going to go do his job, and he thinks he's the best pitcher in the world, which he thinks it, and he's been pretty damn good.
Yeah,
that's right.
So Blaze Bell is another one I think that's improved. That's kind of a new position for him, even though last year he played there all year. First base is one of those positions where people think it's easy, you just jump over there. But there's a lot of footwork and getting really good around the bag, and I think he's improved defensively a ton. And then Andrew Fernandez is, we're going to put him in a little bit different position this year. Played shortstop for us all last year. We're going to try him out at second base. I think that it's going to make our lineup better. I think it's going to be better for our defense, and it's certainly going to be better for him. That's where he projects at the next level if he gets that opportunity, is going to be at second base. So he needs to learn that position. He's done really well with it.
What skill set difference between a shortstop and a second baseman?
Not a lot. Some of your defensive stuff as far as placement and the length of the throw, the timing issues that come with shortstop are a little bit different. But you really need to know both of those. If you're a shortstop, you should know what the second baseman's doing and vice versa. So there's not a whole lot of difference there. It's going to be something that with, his build that is going to be more suitable for him at the next level.
Gotcha.
And you talked about pressure. This team picked in the top 5 for the first time ever, being picked 4th in the poll. Have you all addressed that, talked about that at all? I know a lot of coaches don't really talk about it that much, but this team overall, you said it, there's going to be a larger spotlight on them because of what they did last year and what they brought back.
Absolutely. It's not been something that we've discussed. I think that the polls are just basically you're just getting a look at how you finished the year, the season before. It's not something that we've used as fuel or anything, all those cliche things people say. To me, it doesn't matter what other people think. I think for us it's about going out and doing our job, and for us as coaches to prepare them and get them better and improve on the skill sets that they already have. It really doesn't matter. Nobody will talk about it at the end of the year.
That's true.
For us, we just got to improve every day, and I think if we do that, we're going to be in a really good spot at the end of the year.
It is nice to have that respect, though. It's affirmation.
It is. It is. It's good to have people start talking about your baseball program in a positive way.
Because it hasn't always, it hasn't always been that way at UT Martin, going back, way back.
No, it hasn't, and you feel like you're putting a good product on the field, and those guys have really done a lot for our program. It's good for them to kind of get some attention. But like I said, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's just a preseason vote.
That's
at the
right.
end of the day. It doesn't matter in the long scheme of things. It just gives people like Chris and I something to talk about at the end of the day.
And we need stuff to talk about. That's right.
So we talked about the lineup, but pitching this year, especially deep. Tristan Walton, Jeb Bartle as well, Eric Steensma, Wager, we talked about him, Camel Cleveland, and so many other guys as well. This is a really talented group along with the offense.
Right. So offensively, you're going to kind of see the same thing that you saw last year. You talk about Caleb Hobson and Jack Kolmovic, and both of those guys are really tough for us to replace and to try to, put somebody in that position that can do the same things as they did. On the pitching side, you're going to see a lot of new faces. I think Tristan Walton has has matured. He's developed in a real way. I think he's going to be a frontline Friday night guy for our league. I think he's going to be one of the best pitchers in the country. And that's pressure that we put on him, and he knows that. And my expectation for him is to pitch on Friday and win a lot of baseball games and get drafted. And I have high expectations for him. I really do. And he knows that, and he's going to have to deal with that. And that's part of the pressure that comes with pitching on Friday night. If we're going to be good, I mean, that's the most important guy on your baseball team. As you get into the weekend and farther into our as far as depth into our bullpen, there's a lot of new faces. Jeb Bartle, he's going to start for us on Saturday. And we say new guys, new faces, but these are guys that 100% have played college baseball and have been experienced with high-level hitters, and they're guys that have played at a high level. So they're mature, they're older guys. I expect for him to go out, and there's going to be a lot of nerves. It'll be his first Division I baseball game, but I do think that he's going to be a guy that settles in. He's got the right demeanor to be a weekend starter. I think he's going to do great. And then when you start talking about the bullpen, we've got a lot more options. As coaches, you want to try to get guys in your program and start recruiting guys that give you different looks. We've got a left-hander. We want to be able to go to a right-hander. We want sidearm guys. We've done a good job with our recruiting, and I think we've got a lot of different looks, and the matchups are going to be, a little bit more easy for us to manage. Just we've got more tools in our tool belt this year, and I'm excited about that. And it's an older group. Like I said, it's a lot of new faces, but it is an older group. It's a more mature group. A lot of junior college players, but like I said, that is probably the most difficult thing for us as coaches, is trying to figure out how to get those guys in the right roles. Because we can scrimmage, but when we start putting people's feet to the fire, we're going to really see who can do what and who really excels in certain situations.
That's why the start of the season is so important, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you start the season, I mean, the biggest thing for non-conference, I mean, you want to win every game that you go out and play. But the biggest thing for us in non-conference is, as coaches, making sure that we're putting guys in positions to succeed. We've got talent and we've got good players, but as coaches, everybody's role is very specific to them. And if you're able, Wader's a good example of that. I mean, he really took off in that role as a closer. I don't foresee him doing that his entire career, but that role suited him extremely well. And it took us a long time. I mean, we didn't start closing him until late into the season. And he was very successful there, but that as coaches is something we need to figure out early as we can. Make sure we're putting people in the game when they need to be put in the game, and that way that they have success and the team in turn has success.
UT Martin opening day coming up this weekend, 3-game series against Northern Kentucky. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck this season.
Yep.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
We talked to her about her jersey. So who you got on today?
I have on Tucker Reed today.
And we just had Coach
baseball
Jenkins
jersey.
on.
Yes, and I got my baseball hat, and saw baseball today.
Opening weekend coming up for UT Martin baseball. Just talked to Coach Jenkins, but Coach, good turnout there at this Music City Challenge against some of the best programs, breaking a couple school record. Not just a couple. I mean, there were about four. There were four school records broken. The 4x400 team got to break the record, but overall also some more PRs coming in, and we'll get to that right now. Rita. Again,
that girl is on fire.
Third time with a PR, she does it again here in the 1 mile.
Yeah.
And just talk about her.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, Chris and I talk about, you want to go kind of like up. You mentioned it to us, up and down in track and field, but right now she's going skyrocketing.
Up. She is going up, but I guess the thing is that she's going up in different events, which you can kind of be like, okay, if she was PR on every single event, every single time, then that's a little bit different. But because she's like, okay, her 800 wasn't as fast, but her mile was faster, things like that. And then, I mean, this year just might be her year to click, and it happens, and we just kind of have to keep an eye on it to make sure we don't peak her too early, and we'll just see what happens.
I assume if you do well in one event, that can carry over with the confidence in another.
Most definitely, yeah. And we've seen that in their training and different things, and some athletes, they might have an event earlier that day and it doesn't go so well, and that can fuel them to do better in their next events, so you hope that that's the case, or you hope it's not vice versa.
Yeah, which I'm sure you've seen, but that you as a coach are big about the mentality and the mindset.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to make sure they stay engaged. Remember, okay, you get another opportunity. You know, you get another chance to do better in another event. We'll learn from the last one, but right now we have to focus on what's ahead.
Maluk breaking
Yeah.
the school record in the 600-meter. Talk about his performance.
Okay, so Maluk has. It's nice to see him doing well. He switched groups. So he started off with me as a sprinter. And then he's like, Coach, I think I'm a mid-D guy. And I'm like, I can see that too. And he was like, I can train you as a mid-D from a sprint perspective, or do you want to train from a distance perspective? And he was like, let's go distance. So I gave, he switched over to Tony's group. And at first it was an adjustment because, you know, the mileage is a lot different. So he made an adjustment there. And it's nice to see it actually, like, developing, you actually seeing it and seeing the success come from his training. So
Right.
yeah.
And his instinct to
Yeah.
come to tell you that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like with our sport, we try to be, you know, open and honest about a lot of things. Like very rarely in other sports do you switch, like your point guard isn't going to be like, oh yeah, I'm a post player now. Like it doesn't happen. Like it doesn't. Your pitcher is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to outfield now. Like you know, like we're not doing all of that. Like know your role, stay in your lane. But in our sport, if you run anywhere the 4.815, you can kind of go back and forth. Like if you want to be a true sprinter or if you want to be a true mid distance runner. So. Yeah.
You cracked me. When I coached rec league sports, every center wanted to be a point guard, and every
It's like,
point guard
no.
wanted to post everybody
I'm like,
out.
no.
That's funny.
Not happening. Not
Stay in your
happening one bit. Alicia McKenzie. We
Yes.
had her on the show once earlier here in this spring semester. Broke her own school record in the
Yes.
60-meter hurdles. This is the second time this season she's gotten to
Yes.
that record. And correct me if I'm wrong, that was the record she set before track and
Yes.
field season started.
Yes,
so, I mean,
it was.
She really killed that.
Yeah, she has. And crazy thing about Lisha is that she's been struggling a little bit with competing, and we're just trying to do all these different things, different tactics to try to get her to be successful, for her to understand. And she came to me before this meet, like the week before, and she was like, Coach, can I miss the next 2 meets? And I'm like, can you trust me? And she's like, yeah, I trust you. I said, okay. I said, I just need you to trust me. And she's like, all right. And she got on that bus, and we warmed up. I didn't even see her doing her warm up. I just texted her and was like, hey, you good? Do you need anything? She's like, no, I'm fine. She did her warm up. She went out. I watched the race, and I was like, whoa, okay. And then she was like, thank you. Because she wouldn't have got that if she wouldn't have went. You know, I could have easily been like, you're mentally defeated right now. No, that was a time to challenge her because I know she's strong. That was my time to push her to be like, look, you can do this. Show yourself you can do this, you know? A big confidence boost as well.
Absolutely. Holly Henderson, triple jump,
Yes.
breaking the school record for the second time. You texted me the graph. I'm like, wait, Holly just broke the school record.
She just did it.
She
did
just
it
did it.
again.
I was like, oh, okay. And then I went and looked at it. I was like, holy cow,
Yeah.
she broke the record again.
So that jump is so crazy because triple is a right, left, and then to the pit. So it's a hop, a skip, a jump. That's kind of how the easiest way to explain it. She did her right, left, and then she landed in the pit so funky. So like on her knees, like almost into like a back bend. Like I don't know how. It's like she fell in the sand, and it was crazy. And I'm like, how in the world? I'm like, your landing was terrible. And I was like, but your face looked good. And she came off. We didn't see like how far it was 'cause they hadn't put it on the screen yet. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then we were like, how? We're like, okay, so if you land correctly, you go even further. So I'm excited to see what she does at conference.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did not land right at all.
It didn't matter, though.
Yeah.
I mean, what
Because
she
I
did,
guess
that
she'd
was-
never been in that position to land on that particular.
Yeah. So like she carried her phases out so well that her body didn't know what to do at the end.
Yeah.
So it kind of just flopped. And that's what she
But
did.
what you're saying is, if she does that fundamentally correct the
Yes.
next time,
she's going to go even further. Yeah.
which will be a new school record.
Exactly.
4x400 team. Khalid White, Chadwick Stewart, John Conn, Askew, Samir Smith. They go 3:18.91
Yes.
and break the school record from 2 years ago.
Yes.
How about them?
Yes. Okay, so this is my true A team 4x4, and we've ran the 4x4 together, and they just missed the school record when they ran it, and I was like, y'all didn't run with confidence. And they were like, okay, the next time we do it, we're going to be good. Well, Chadwick ended up getting sick the next time they were supposed to run it, so they didn't run it. So I'm like, we have to run it at Vandy. We go to Vandy. They put us in the last heat. No offense to the teams we went against, but we most definitely could have ran against some faster teams. But, hey, the way the heat shaked out, like, it is what it is. And I was like, it's you and the clock. Like, y'all have to go. I had athletes all around the track. Like, we had people in every aspect, and I was like, they have to break this record today. And so, like, we're just yelling. I'm at the top of the bleachers. I'm watching because I have to get splits on the clock, and I'm like, they have to go. Leah gets pushed in the race, and there's no DQ, no nothing. He still has to go. Like, you still got to keep going. His footing was messed up, and I commend him for still, like, running his time and what he did. And they did really good, and it's kind of scary because they still haven't tapped into what they actually can do yet. So it's nice.
Just scratching the surface. So
Yeah.
that's always good. That's always good. One more tune-up. The Red Hawks open this weekend on Saturday before the OVC Championships during the middle of the week the next week. But focusing in on this meet here, I mean, we talk so much about following these meets whenever we recap them with you, about training the next week. I mean, how are things going to start getting ramped up as you all get ready for conference?
Well, so technically we've already hit our high, so now it's time to relax a little bit, give them a little bit more rest. Practice aren't as hard. They are intense, but they're not as long. Like, if we can get you in and out in 45 minutes, go eat, go to sleep. Like, now it's all about recovery. That's the biggest thing. So this weekend coming up, I like to say a lot of my heavy hitters aren't competing this weekend. They're resting. But this does give another opportunity for somebody to show me, like, hey, I am ready for conference. This is a good time for our jumpers to get on a good surface, get in a good pit, and things like that. So, yeah, it'll be good.
It's going to be a good one. Chris, anything else?
No, just looking good as always.
Thank
I'm impressed.
you.
Your style. I would like to. I guess your wardrobe, is it planned out? How many days in advance?
Well, for conference, like,
The
I already
most
have that done.
stylish coach
Already
in
have that done.
the league
Yes.
right here.
Yes.
Has
I'm
all the
actually wearing a
jerseys.
custom baseball jersey for conference that says Coach Lita on the back. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I am.
We got to get some that
I
say
am.
Gregory
Yes.
and Brinkley on
Yeah,
the back
for
too.
sure.
We got to get the link. We got to get
No doubt.
we got to get the website link.
Okay.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and always good luck here coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here in Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. Another episode of Skyhawk Sports Talk. And Chris, you and I were talking. Our episodes are winding down.
They are.
We have got 4 more episodes after this one. Our final episode is going to be the week after the OVC tournament.
Okay.
And that will be our final episode on the 11th. But while we still have some more time and more episodes, going to continue to get our coaches in, especially those spring sports. And joining us now, head coach of the UT Martin golf team, Austin Swafford. Skyhawks fantastic fall season, and now ready for the spring. Coach, how has just this break been for you? And now, I mean, it's ready to get back and get to action.
Yeah, I think the guys are really excited about it. It's one of those, I think that our players are ready to play 2 weeks ago, and I wish I had another 2 weeks to prepare. But, no, we're excited. The break's been good. We hit the end of the fall, try to give them some time off, focus on the academic side, finishing the semester. They go home for the holidays, come back. We've hit it pretty hard since they've been back. Now we've had to deal with some weather early. Now the last couple weeks have been beautiful, so us golfers will take that every time.
Yeah. What can you do when the weather's bad? How can your guys?
We hit at our facility. We're able to hit from inside to out, so that helps. We got an indoor green. We can still do some work. So we can do a lot of the technical stuff, just as far as getting out on a course, playing for a score, or whatever might happen. That gets hard, but we do what we can. Now, the last couple of weeks, we've been able to get out and do a lot of different things, so that's been good. It's been exciting. We played in some wind, rain last week. We're liable to see those this spring. You never know what's going to happen. So, again, we've hit it pretty hard, feel pretty good. We just got to get to a tournament. So.
Quick, you're actually talking about you have a bay where the door comes up and you're inside, but you're hitting outside.
Correct.
So
correct.
now you're seeing some of these sophisticated simulators on the Golf Channel. Can those really help your game? Are they getting to the point where we're there yet? And if not, in 10 years from now, will they?
I think if you use them right, yes. No, they can definitely help.
Yeah.
It just depends on, again, how you use it. Are you just playing like for fun, or are you paying attention to what it's telling you? As long as you can kind of understand what it's saying and use that feedback, can absolutely help.
And they're getting pretty accurate?
they're getting pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Some are naturally better than others. It just depends on which brand you go with.
Yeah.
But no, they're fairly accurate. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And while we're kind of on that track, we were at Top Golf, I think, end of December.
Love Topgolf.
Ryan, Alex, Mac, and I were over there, and we were saying, what happens if we got Coach Swafford out here for Top Golf, or just the golf team in general? I mean, how would your guy? You would just break the scoreboard, I would think, in some of that. I guess what's your highest Top Golf score that you've ever gotten?
I don't know about my highest. My favorite game to play at Top Golf is the Angry Birds game.
Ooh,
I
that's
love
a good
that one. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
So I don't know what my high score is. I usually play that every time.
Well, explain. This is something. So if you hit a pitching wedge, how far you hit a pitching wedge?
Myself?
Yeah.
145 yards.
145?
Yes, sir.
From the floor?
From the floor.
So what do you do on the third floor? How do you adjust? Because is it different?
That's not too much of an elevation change to where it's probably going to matter, but if anything, it should go a little further, just being elevated.
Because you're higher up?
Because you're higher up.
But you don't know the formula? Because I'm trying to figure it out.
No, don't ask me the formula. No, I'm out on that.
But you have to make a slight adjustment.
You do.
Have you ever hit one just totally out over the netting?
I have tried my hardest, but no, I have not. I've had a couple that went sideways, and they had a chance, but not straight over the net.
There's who's the Mike Trout from the Angels.
Listen, when he gets a hold of one,
that
it's something
was
else.
that was. Chris, have you seen that video?
No, but I'll watch it.
He tees this up and smashes this drive, and it went so far that the tracer, the tracker, didn't even pick it up.
In the ball, the tracker's in the ball, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It didn't even. Once it flew and kept on going, it didn't even pick it up.
I got to think he's probably a lot like the gentleman that was inducted into our Hall of Fame.
Wes.
Oh,
Wes.
yeah.
Got to be real similar.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
We should probably get back on track.
exactly.
This is a
No,
fascinating
I'm
conversation.
good.
But hey, listen. A lot of people love golf though, so that whenever we get you on, we can talk about some of the other things
That's
as
exactly
well
right.
too.
Well, I actually kind of would argue that Top Golf is hurting real golf, but you think maybe it helps? Like
I think it's brought the interest level overall, like of golf. It's kind of expanded the market you might get to. Now, it may have hurt actually going and playing some, because you could go and do that for 1 to 2 hours instead of playing 18 holes for, let's say, 4 hours or less. But, pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
So I think the pros may outweigh the cons a little bit, but your person that likes golf in general and maybe watches it on TV or just wants to go play, they're still going to go play, in my opinion.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you carry your own clubs or do you use this?
I don't. No,
Okay,
I use
you're
their.
safe.
I don't want to be that guy that walks in with his own club. No.
You walk
no.
in, you got your golf pants on, full
Yeah.
UTM outfit.
I've seen people walk in with their own clubs, or at least like their own driver, and they've got their own glove, and I'm like, guys, we need to go to a golf course.
Yeah,
See?
exactly.
Yes.
This is just how I feel. When someone tells you how good they are at golf, or if they bring their own clubs to Top Golf, they're not very good.
No, that's a telltale sign right there. Yes.
That is the red flag
That
for a
is the
bad
red
golfer.
flag.
If you bring your own clubs to Top
Yes.
Golf, you're out. You
Yes.
are gone.
You just don't know what you don't know yet.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, now you know.
Nobody
You're-
has been honest with them yet. But
But hey, we keep it honest here on the podcast.
That's
and
right.
There you go. That's what it is. So picked third here in the preseason poll that came out a couple weeks ago. And your thoughts there on the poll overall and your team's place in there?
yeah, no, pleased with it. Obviously, would love to be a little higher. Our poll, because we play both semesters, is typically, not always, but typically ranked off of how the rankings fell at the end of the fall. So, for example, right now in the national rankings in the OVC, we're the third highest ranked team. So the preseason poll basically reflects that. And, you learn a lot about your team in the fall. So even if you felt like you didn't have a good fall, you might have learned quite a bit that can help us going forward in this championship segment. So pleased with that. We're excited to get going. But we fell about kind of where we expected to fall.
Top three in a trio of tournaments last year. Had a fifth-place effort in another one. Won the Grover Page Classic. 23 under par in that one. Event record. We talked to you about that a little while back. But some of the guys have performed well. I mean, Dax was incredible. Back-to-back golfer of the week. Jonathan Ionis, he won that accolade as well. And then you had 5 golfers scoring average ranked in the top 30 in the OVC. When we talked to Dax, he had mentioned that you all, in some of your discussions as a team, talking about momentum and not wanting to be a momentum-driven team. How do you feel about this team right now and that performance, and how do you look to not really ride the momentum but carry that over and improve on it here as you get to the next season?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, we've almost just got to reset, not where we don't kind of lose sight of those good things that happened or the positive things that happened that we can kind of run with. But that was 4 or 5 months ago. We hadn't played a tournament round since October. So we're looking at this. It's not a new season. It's just continuing. But we're kind of approaching it, again, 1 week at a time, but we've kind of got to reset. What happened in October could feel totally different. Like I said, these guys have had some time off. They've been back. We've hit it pretty hard. A lot of them have gotten stronger, a little more flexible, so we've had to make a little adjustment there, what they've noticed. So we take that, and then, again, we just got to get to a tournament. Like I said, they wanted to play 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we can do 1,000 different things in practice, and we do some things kind of unique where maybe we play certain yardages into the greens when we go practice. Last week we played 9 holes. They only had 5 clubs. I do different things to try to throw them off their game. But at the end of the day, I can't create a tournament for them. We got to go get in that atmosphere and play other teams. So I think once we get 1 or 2 under our belt, maybe I can better answer that. But it's just kind of we know what we've got. We know what our strengths are. But it's kind of a reset. Everybody's at 0, quote unquote. Here we go.
Do you encourage weights or yoga, flexibility, anything? Or?
Yeah, I mean, our team works out 3 days a week. And then we do some mobility stuff on the side as well, just trying to keep that flexibility and maybe, gain a better posture, if you will, help us stay in it when we're playing. So it's actually been a really big aspect of the program the last few years. Chris, the strength coach, does a great job with that, and the guys really buy into it. Now, obviously, they want to hit it far. They want to see who hits it the furthest, who's got the fastest swing speed. But just in general, they've really bought into it, and it's been a big help.
If you have too much muscle, I guess it hurts your flexibility, or you know the
does.
terminology better than I do.
It does, which that's our workouts. Chris does a great job of designing those workouts specifically to golf, and we do some different movements that if you walked in, people would probably be like, what are they doing? But it's beneficial for us, and I think if you ask even Dax, but if you brought Jacob or Bryson or Jackson, some of my older players, and they're 3 or 4 or 5 years here, what they would say over I think they would echo that. So.
And start up next week, the WGV Collegiate at King and Bear Golf Club, St. Augustine, Florida. So that's coming up. But one last question for you, Coach.
Sure.
We just had the Waste Management Phoenix Open.
Yep.
The 16th hole. Nick Taylor ended up winning that one.
Yep.
16th hole. Do you think that, so you get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 tries. Do you think you could hole-in-one that?
No, not in 4 tries. I think I could hit the green 4 times, or at least 3 out of 4. I feel okay about that. Making a hole-in-one, no, probably not. I'd love to. I'd love to see what the crowd would do if I actually made a hole-in-one in that tournament environment. But I've only made 2 hole-in-ones in my whole life, so you're only giving me 4 tries. I'm going to have to say no, unfortunately.
Well, I've made 1, but yours was further, and I made 1 in disc golf. So.
Well, listen, I'm terrible at disc golf, so any pointers you can give, I'm taking them all day.
But my little philosophy, and I'm not the expert you are, is that 50% is your responsibility to get it near the hole. The other 50% is just luck. No?
I'd agree with that. We can roll with that.
Okay,
yeah.
we can roll with that.
Listen,
that's the key.
I would rather be lucky than good any day of the week. So.
That is 100%
Because I know
true.
if you've hit 2, how close have you been? How many times have you been within a foot?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
100?
Maybe not quite that many, but there's been a lot of times it would roll by the hole, spin back. I mean, there's been a lot of chances you're like,
and I bet
close?
the longest shot you've ever made was not a hole-in-one.
My second hole-in-one was.
Oh, it was?
was like 170 yards or something.
Okay.
That's the longest one I've ever made.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to hit a 3-wood, knock it in from the fairway. I hadn't done that yet.
Because there are dudes out there who have made 5, and I know you're better
Yes.
than they are.
Well,
so that's luck. That's the luck.
I need to do something to change my luck, Chris. That's what I need to do.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck next week, and then the week after that as well.
Yeah, we're hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
We've got 6 this semester before the OVC, so but I got a team that wants to play, so we're going to play.
It's going to be a fun time. We'll talk to you when you come back from that trip,
Sounds good.
Coach.
Thanks,
Thanks so much
guys.
for coming on with us.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Can I ask Coach McMillan a question?
Yes, go ahead.
We were talking with Austin about holes in one. Have you hit one? And has your son Ben hit one?
I've hit a bunch of hole-in-ones. I play putt-putt all the time. Yeah, I've hit tons of hole-in-ones. Ben has not, though I've played with him a couple of times where it just infuriates me that he walked out and met me and Matt at a par 3 when we were playing out at Union City, and we'd been playing, and I hit on one of them. It's like a 200-yard par 3, and so I have to hit like a driver to get it there. And so I hit something and got it up there, and I was about 5 feet. I was so excited. Ben pulls in, stretches, just turns his arms one way, does his arm the other way, picks up a club, and puts it inside my ball. And I'm like, seriously? So he doesn't have one yet, but I'm sure he's got a lot coming.
He'll get one.
Yeah, he'll get one at some point in time. So getting to basketball here, the UT Martin women's basketball team, they will come home this week after a 4-game-long road trip where the Skyhawks went 3-1, wins over Little Rock, Eastern Illinois, and SIUE. Coach, a long road trip, but a good one at that, coming away 3-1.
Yeah, you know, if you had asked me before the road trip what would be good, I would have probably said 1 would be good, 2 would be great, 3 would be phenomenal. You know, so it just depends how you look at it. You lose the last one, you kind of think, oh well. But given what all was going on, I don't know that we could have asked for a much better 4-game stretch than what we got.
And a long one at that. I mean, you go to Eastern Illinois, SIUE, and then go to Little Rock on Tuesday, and then Western Illinois on Saturday. Is that the first trip that you've made up there to Macomb?
Yeah, I've never been up there.
So, I mean, just thoughts on the travel there. I mean, it has been rough, but you get 4 of your last 6 coming back here at home.
Yeah. Well, whenever you do a schedule, there's going to be problems, and especially when you try to do partners with odd numbers. I mean, you're. If I complain about a schedule, and I will complain about it, I understand that there's inherent problems to start with.
Right.
I mean, no team is going to get there. You can't have balanced schedules. You can't have equal. You can't. So you just try to eliminate things that are just really glaringly stupid. And I don't think we do that as a conference. And but I talked with Western's coach before the game, and they're excited and loving the travel because they used to go from they were the easternmost school, and they had to travel. Their nearest game was Kansas City.
Oh,
and then it was North Dakota, South Dakota, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and then Denver. So they were thrilled. They're thrilled with the travel. So I guess it's just what do you have a reference point to?
yeah. And we've kind of been spoiled with Austin P and Murray and some of the closer schools.
Definitely been
You
spoiled.
made me think we got to go, but the making a schedule is like a math word problem. Like it's this combination of math, but there's also the word problem part of it.
It
too.
is, and I did one on the way up to Macomb.
Oh, okay.
I did a schedule, and it took me. I was really dumb for about the first hour and a half, and then I went, wait a minute, this is a pattern. So then once I did that, I churned it out in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But that's just getting who's going to play who. Now, road, home, travel situations, because if you just blindly do a schedule, then Little Rock is going to play at Moorhead on Thursday and then back home on Saturday against Western Illinois, or you're going to play Western Illinois at home and then play Lindenwood on the road, and it's just right there. So it just gets complicated. It just gets complicated.
And so going to that Western game, I mean, no Lexi in that one, but the ladies still fought like crazy hard in this one. They had a 3-point first quarter. After that, come back to tie the game. Anea 25-8 there. Just a great effort from your team to be able, down one of the best players, not just for your team, but in the league, and then you come back and you fight against that team on the road.
Yeah, I don't fault the kids at all for their effort, physical effort. We don't back down. We're going to keep playing hard. As hard as we can, but you have to understand when you're playing as young a group as we are, and as limited numbers as we are, that your intelligence level has to shoot through the roof. And we started out that game, and we just were. I think we were pouting a little bit, but not pouting in that we were quitting. It's just we were out of sync and didn't really know how to adjust to it. And that's the first time this year that they've had to play without Lexi. So they didn't really know what to do, and everybody was kind of looking around for each other. And I butchered that. As I should have pulled Anaya and Kinley aside the night before and said, look, I don't know what you're going to have to do for the whole game, but I can tell you this. First 5 minutes of the game, y'all are going to have to take over. I didn't do that. And there's a couple of reasons why I didn't, but I didn't. And that ended up being a big mistake because I think once they figured out I've got to pick it up a notch, we were fine. Live and learn.
And come back at home this week. Southern Indiana, they have turned it around. Really great team. Also Morehead State, too. I mean, this is going to be a big week also for our fans. This is going to be two of the best teams on women's and the men's side, too, coming in. And we need to make this place very loud, the Kathleen and Tom Elam Center.
Well, it would help. I know it helps our kids, and I know it helps the men. And anytime we have big crowds, our kids tend to respond. And it's that time of year. It's district tournament play and region tournament play for high schools. It's when everybody. It's kind of like when basketball season starts for a lot of fans. Because even for me, I'll go see some region games that I haven't seen. So yeah, I hope we have big crowds because we're definitely going to need them. Southern Indiana's top of the league, and Morehead beat us, and they're right around where we are. So it'll be an interesting Thursday, Saturday.
If 4 of your last 6 are at home, it'd be nice to take advantage of that if we can.
Yeah, but don't say that stuff because, Lord, we play better on the road than we
Okay.
have at home.
Lexi, she should be back, I hope.
Lexi was in the gym this morning when I got in and says she's back and is feeling a lot better. She was feeling better on Saturday, but of course she was 6 hours away. But we have to have everybody there. I mean, we just do. Our margin for error is too small.
Well, your everybody's not many.
That's not many. It is not many.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
We've got about a minute and a half here. Coach, one question from the mailbag just popped in my mind.
Okay.
Best golf course that you've played at?
Best that I've ever played at would probably be the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs.
Nice.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it was really nice.
What'd you shoot that day?
I think I broke triple digits, but I'm not sure because I remember my first putt. I tapped it from about 2 feet away, and by the time it had ended rolling, it was about 40 feet away. And I was playing with Mike Swayman, and I think he was my partner. He said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, the ball rolls away from the mountains." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. For all of our coaches today, Chris, big thanks to them for coming on.
Yep, great day to be a Skyhawk.
And we will sign off here from Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. God bless.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.